Michael Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Ferrari have had some legendary drivers over the years, but over the past decade they have struggled to quite get the same performances as to maybe they'd expect. Whilst they've still been a top team leading and winning many races, they have failed to win a Drivers' Championship since Kimi Raikonen in 2007. However, we're not going to be looking at 2007, we're looking at the last 10 years. They have had 5 drivers don the Ferrari suits, and today we'll be ranking them from best all the way down to worst. Now, if you do like this kind of ranking content and doing some Formula 1 stuff rather than just football, leave a like on the video and also go subscribe, otherwise Lance Stroll will win the 2020 Formula 1 Championship. Now, from that, let's get right into the countdown. So, in 5th place is the nearly champion Felipe Massa. Now, despite being at Ferrari for 8 years between 2006 and 2013, he did race 160 times but sits bottom of the pile. Now, there is a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, this is only based on 2010 season onwards, meaning some of his best years, including his such close defeat at the hands of Lewis Hamilton in 2008, doesn't make it into consideration for this ranking. To be honest, for much of the time in the recent decade, he played second fiddle to Fernando Alonso. Obviously, team orders became a big issue, I believe, in 2013. And in the years, he only actually finished on the podium 8 times, didn't win a race, and finished just 6th as his best performance in the championship. 1 place ahead of him in 4th, it is the youngest Ferrari driver in history. It's Charles Leclerc. Now, I'm a big fan of this lad. 22 years of age, the 2nd youngest Ferrari driver in history. He looks extremely promising, and with a good year under his belt in which he beat his 4-time world champion teammate Sebastian Vettel at his first season with the Prancing Horses, it's a brilliant record, but a lack of experience with the side and a lack of years is going to demote him down to 4th place. Now, if this was done a few years later and I was ranking from 2013 to 2023, I'm fairly confident that he may even be knocking on the door for number 1 depending on when the next year's bring. But with just 1 year under his belt, I cannot condone putting him on a podium spot, and despite a couple of strong performances, he only actually did get 2 victories, although they were at Spa and Monza, 2 of the toughest tracks, and also Monza, obviously Ferrari's home Grand Prix. And on to the podium then, and in 3rd place, it is the Iceman Kimi Raikkonen. Now, he may have clinched the championship in 2007, but that is too early for this list, and therefore he drops down to 3rd after 6 consistent years with the Prancing Horses. His return to Formula 1 in 2012 probably wasn't expected to be as successful as it was, as he had 2 strong years with Lotus before moving back to his team that he won the championship for the Prancing Horses of Ferrari in 2014. He then went on to race in 100 races, the most any driver has in the current decade. However, he only won 1 in his final year at the Austin Grand Prix in 2018. He was an understudy to Sebastian Vettel for a lot of his time, but at that, he was a strong understudy, finishing on the podium 26 times and finishing 3rd in the standings 2 years ago as his best performance. A strong driver, but he's not going to bag a top 2 spot. And into the top 2 and in 2nd place, it's maybe the man that you didn't expect. It's going to be the Spaniard Fernando Alonso. Now, some may argue that he's one of the greatest drivers the Prancing Horses have ever seen, but the fact remains he never won a championship with Ferrari, and that is going to be a big dent in his charge to being the greatest driver for Ferrari in the 2010s. 3 times he finished 2nd behind Sebastian's Red Bull, and what if things have been different in 2010? Who knows? If that Abu Dhabi Grand Prix had gone different, 100% he would be top of these rankings. But an aggressive driver who occasionally lost his head, his stats are still impressive though. In 96 races, he won 11 Grand Prix and picked up 44 podiums. That is almost half an extremely good record, considering we've had the domination of both Ferrari and the Mercs whilst he was at the team. A legendary driver, but the Spaniard takes number 2. And in 1st place, it's going to be Fernando's rival and counterpart, and his replacement as well, I suppose, is going to be the German Sebastian Vettel. Now, whilst Fernando was there from 2010 to 2014, amassing 5 years, Sebastian also got 5 years at the team from 2015 to 2019. On the one hand, this gives us a quite far representation of comparing to, but at the same time, the fact they never raced is a little bit of a shame. It would be exciting to see to face off. But in his 5 years, I'm giving it to him partially on statistics, yes, but you've got to say he's been pretty damn good whilst he's been at the team. Yes, he's failed to beat the Mercs, but I'd say the Mercs are a more dominant team than his Red Bull car was. So for that reason, I'm giving him the #1 spot. But also, you look at his stats. He's won 3 more races than Fernando, winning 14 in, I believe it's around a similar number of 98 races. And he's got 54 podiums, which is more than half, if my maths is correct. So, although his contract negotiations are stalling, his recent season hasn't been so good, and Charles Leclerc is starting to assert that he should be the #1 driver. I was about to say Fernando. Sebastian is going to be the #1 driver for this video. So, leave in the comments below what you think. Should Sebastian have been the #1 driver? Am I going to stutter through the #1 ranking next time out? And until next time, go press that right button. Help me achieve my goal of hitting 1,000 subs. Until then, peace.